Xander. Welcome back, everybody, to Xander Studios. Today I thought we could discuss, hopefully briefly, iProperties within Inventor and what they are and what they can be used for, and just how extensively they are used. Duh. But iProperties are basically just a set of attributes for the parts, assemblies, and drawings within Inventor. And you can change things like part numbers, descriptions, the physical material. You can assign different things like revision numbers to your parts and assemblies and drawings. You can assign engineers, who checked it, when they checked it, dates, things like that. You can also include web links. And these iProperties are used to track and manage your files, and also to update assembly BOMs and drawing parts lists, title blocks, and things like that. So let's get started, and we'll just kind of go through each one. The iProperties, they look exactly the same. Doesn't matter if you're in a part, assembly, or drawing. So I'm just going to open up a part, and we'll create a part, save it, and I'll show you how to input different text fields within the dialog boxes. But to begin, let's just real briefly, let's create a plate. Why not? Let's say it's 12 by 18. And it's 1/4 of an inch. There we go. And I'm using the brand new Autodesk Inventor Professional 2020. If you want to see what is new and what is different between Inventor 2019 and 2020, I suggest you hop on over to TFI CAD Group Technologies, because he's got a more in-depth video, or not more in-depth, he just has an in-depth video of the new design interface and all things new for Inventor Professional 2020. So I will put a link in the description down below to his video if you want to check it out. But to continue, so the iProperties, there's two different ways that you can access iProperties. You can either click on the model name over here, or not model name, but file name over here, and go to the iProperties, or you can just go up to File, and where'd it go? iProperties. Same thing. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and just save this plate. We'll just call it. I do that a lot, apparently. All right, let's just call it plate. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we'll right-click on the file name and hit iProperties. Now up here you have General, Summary, Project, Status, Custom, Save, and Physical. Under the General, this is just showing you the name of the file, the type of file, what it opens with, where it's being saved, the size of the file, when it was created, when it was last modified, and when it was last accessed. None of this stuff in here you can change. Obviously you can't change the file size in here, nor can you change when it was created, modified, or accessed. But if we go over to Summary, here all of these different dialog boxes, these can all be used throughout Inventor, more specifically on drawings and things like that. You can include them into your title blocks, into your revision tables, whole tables, BOMs, and just whatever other kind of tables or text that you have on your drawings. You can use any one of these fields on those. So here, obviously, title, subject, author, and those are just my initials. Manager, company, you can put in the name of your company if you want. Comments, if you have in your BOM, if you have a column in there for comments, just highlighting certain things about the part itself, like let's say if it needs to be mitered, or if it's checker plate, what kind of pattern it has, something like that. You would enter it in here, and on the drawings for comments, one thing is the revision tables. The description is taken from the comments dialog box here. So here is where you would say released for approval, released for fabrication, any sort of revision that you do, you would include it in here. And every time you update your revision table, you add a new revision, you would go into the iProperties of your drawing and update the comments there, and it will only update the most current revision. It will not update anything prior to it. So let's say if you have revision 10, the revision 10, you would come in here and update it. Any other revision prior to it, the descriptions all stay with whatever it is that you have typed in there. So under project tabs, this is not tabs, but tab. This is where the meat of the iProperties comes into, for the most part. Obviously, again, it has location, file subtype, your part number, that's the file name. In my industry, not industry, but where I work, we don't typically fill out the descriptions of every single part, because I mean, you could have an assembly of well over 100 parts, and trying to sit there and think of a name for every single one of them. You might have, let's say, a stiffener ring or something like that. You might have 50 of those. You're not going to sit there and type out stiffener ring 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 50. You would have a more generic file name, like P01 through P0, not P0, but P01 through P50. Those would be stiffener plates or whatever. Very, very generic. And that file name would show up under the part number. Stock number, that is something that you can add in manually here, or if you pull anything from the content center, the stock number is filled out with whatever the size of the member is, or bolt, washer, nut, gasket, flange, coupling, whatever. It puts a stock number in there, just what the size is. The description, obviously that's pretty self-explanatory. That's where you would fill out what the part actually is, the size, length, width, height, whatever parameters that you want to include in there. If you want to, you can include a revision number. I typically don't. Usually what I do with revision numbers is I attach it to the sheet on the drawing. I don't touch revision numbers within the parts or assemblies, but that's just my personal preference. The project, again, that's pretty self-explanatory. You put in the name of the project, and you can later add that text field into your title block on your drawing. Designer is whoever actually created the part initially. The engineer, authority, those, if you wanted to, you can use engineer as your project manager, or you can create a custom iProperty. I'll show you how to do that in a second. Cost center, estimated cost. The estimated cost is not something that gets filled out automatically. You have to type it in there. Those are only for purchased parts. Really, you really wouldn't use it for a plate like this. You would use it for a nut, a bolt, a washer, whatever item is actually purchased, like off-the-shelf items. Creation date, obviously, again, self-explanatory. You can put in whatever date that you want. If this is let's say you're pulling something from McMaster-Carr and you want to fill out the iProperties here, you can type in under vendor McMaster-Carr and use that on your drawings, just to let the fabricator know that, hey, this is a purchase part and it's being bought from this person or that person, whatever it is. Web link, if you want to put in a link to a website, whether it be a oh crap, what's the right term? Does anybody know? Not vendor. I guess it would be vendor. Sure. Yeah, let's say that. If you want to put a web link to the vendor's website, you can do that. Or if you want to put a web link to your company's website, you put it in there. Under status, this is, again, pretty self-explanatory, but you have check by, check date, the engineer who approved it, when they approved it. Under file status down here, this is all pertaining to the vault, who it was checked out, when it was checked out, what the work group is, what the workspace is, all that stuff. That all is linked with Vault. And you can come up here, the status. You can type in whatever you want. You can use these, the design state, work in progress, pending, released. You can say released for fabrication or released for approval, or like it says there, work in progress, whatever you want. Under custom, let's say if you have a few iProperties that you want to use that Inventor doesn't have within its own set of iProperties, you can come here and create your own custom ones. For instance, they don't have a field called project managers. So here, you would type in, PM for project manager and hit add, or just hit enter for OK. And there, it's now just created a custom iProperty for you. And under here, under value, you would type in whatever the initials of the project manager are. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in my initials. But under here, you can change it to either a date, a number, or a yes or no. And you can add as many custom iProperties as you want, as you need. And they can all be different things, and you can use them wherever you want. Under save, this is pretty self-explanatory. I don't ever change this from ISO view on save. I just leave it as this. But you can change it to save it as whatever you want. And the physical, this one is pretty simple. Material, there's two different ways that you can, there's two different ways that you can change the material. You can either come to the iProperties under the physical tab and change the, let's just make this carbon steel, wherever the heck it is. There it is. You can change the material there. It updates the density to whatever the material is. And this, I've never actually had it change. Even though I've changed the material and I requested accuracy, it's always by default set to low. I've changed it to very high. I've changed it to medium, and I've changed it to high, and it does nothing. So I don't really know what the purpose of that is, but it's there. So if anybody knows what this requested accuracy actually does, please let me know, because I am curious. 'Tis a mystery, one for the ages. At least it's a mystery to me. I don't know if it's a mystery to everybody else, but it's a mystery to me. And under general properties, obviously, you got your mass, your area, and your volume. Under inertial properties, you have all your principal moments of inertia, rotation to principal. You can do global inertial properties, or you can do your center of gravity. Figure out exactly where the center of gravity is based off of that, and all that weight and whatever other crap is. I don't ever really touch these, although I've had engineers and whatnot come and ask me for the inertial moments and whatever else, whatever the crap is down here, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this stuff means, but here you go. You can figure it out. But in short, yeah, those are all the iProperties. Now, where you use all of these in the different areas of Inventor, let's say, we're going to put this plate on a drawing. So under description, I'm not going to go through and do an automated description. If you want to know how to do that, do an automated description. If you look at my very first video that I posted here, it's all about automated descriptions. Go watch that, and I explain how to do all that. But for this, we're not going to do that. So I'm just going to label this as plate. And I'm going to say it's 1/4 inch by, I think I made it 1 foot, by 1'6". Oops. So that's the description. right there. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to put that in there. I'm just going to label it plate, because I'm going to put it somewhere else on the drawing. So, there you go, ta-da. And the reason it changed color is because I changed the material, and it did that. It's changed. You can also change the material up here, and you can create your own custom material library. Perhaps I'll talk about that in my next video of how to set one of those up and how to copy over materials and change them and tailor it to your own specific needs. But anyway, now we have our plate. And we're going to go throw this on a drawing, so just come up here, hit new, and let's do one of these, and hit OK. And base, yeah, that's fine. Alright, so to fill out the title block with our iProperties, again, under the drawing you have your own set of iProperties. You can fill out all this to match whatever the iProperties you have in here. I'm not even sure what the default settings are, but yeah, company, date, author, okay, all that crap. But let's say if we want to put the description in here, so you would come down to the model and description, tick that there. There it is. And actually, let's go ahead and center this. And just for that, we'll just go ahead and make it big. Alright. What else do I want to put on here? Oh yeah. Let's do PM. Project manager. Crap. Project manager. Alright, there we go. That's the text field. And now if you do custom properties, this will, if you don't have any custom properties, then this selection will not show up. But if you do have any custom properties, it will. So we'll go ahead and select that. It already has, there's only one, so it's only PM. We'll drop that down there. Hit OK. And then center all that crap again. And move you over there. Hit finish. Hit yes. Okay. So what it's done is it's taken the iProperties of the part of the model, and I have put it into the drawing. Now that's, I technically wouldn't do it that way. I would use the iProperties of the drawing itself to fill out the title block, but that's just me. Everyone has their own way of doing things, and to each his own, fine, whatever. But this is how, technically this isn't how I would do it, but this is how I have done it. But yeah, that's how you would use your iProperties elsewhere in there. And you can create whatever fancy jacked up looking title block that your company has and put in all different kinds of things, who drew or who modeled the entire drawing and part or whatever, I don't know, when they did it, who checked it, description, whatever the part or assembly is, the job number, drawing number, revision. You can put a sheet size in there. You can put a scale size in there. Nobody really uses scales anymore, but some people, they just put it on there because they're old school or they're, way too anal and they don't know how to scale things on their own. They get confused when there isn't a scale, and it's like, oh God, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to scale things. I don't know how to measure. I'm retarded. What else? Okay. Let's say for the leader, not leader, but for your description on here, let's say if you want to call this out, you can sit here and you can type in all the length, width, and height or thickness of the plate, or you can just simply come here and hit fill out, where is it? Use the iProperties, put it in there, and you can see it will fill out the text field with whatever the description that you have in the part on your iProperties. Now, the reason why I don't put the description down here linked with the model is because of this reason. If I were to have actually put in the length, width, and thickness of this plate, yes, it'd be fine here, but whatever shows up here would show up down here. So what I usually do, and hopefully what most people do, I'm not sure. I'm not going to speculate on that. I would hope people would have the common sense to do it this way. I know certain people who will not be named who don't do it this way because they think they're some fancy schmancy know-it-all crackheads. But I digress. I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to offend anyone. I don't care if I offend anybody. If I offend you, well, then, be an adult and deal with it. No, that's not it. Where am I? Ah, yeah, that's it. What I typically do is I use the description of the drawing on drawings. Duh. That way, I can now type in whatever description I feel like on the part side, and then for the description of the actual drawing of what's being shown, then I can come in here and just type in, plate, and hit close. Why do I always do that? And now it's technically the same field description, but it's in two different places. It's two different descriptions being used. So now I can come in here and I can fill out the rest of this description with the actual dimensions of the plate. But yeah, that is pretty much the iProperties. Assemblies have obviously the same sort of iProperties, and you come in here and use different ones elsewhere for different things, like for general arrangements or just the assemblies. If you have like an assembly drawing and you have a BOM on there, obviously you don't want to use a parts only BOM because that would be ungodly huge. You would use something a lot shorter. So you would use a structured BOM, and it would pull the descriptions of assemblies and not assemblies and parts. So your BOM would be a lot shorter, and it would only include the assemblies. And if you had added other parts within that assembly, then those would show up as well. But that is basically how you use iProperties in Inventor. I think I covered everything in there. One thing I didn't do is I did not cover how to use iProperties within a parts list. I don't think I will in this video. I think what I'm going to do is make another video about a parts list, and I will show you how to use use iProperties in the parts list, because that just seems to make a lot more sense. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope I didn't rant too much about stupid things. If you liked this video, hit the like button down below and the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Farewell.